Here's our situation. You're the BA for StyleThread, a growing clothing brand. Your CEO just asked, why are customers churning? You've got transaction data in one system, return reasons in another, and NPS feedback scattered across a third. And the data is messy, inconsistent categories, unstructured return reasons, and no standard format. You know the answer is buried somewhere in this data, but wrangling it manually means hours in Excel just to get started. This is a multi-source data forensics problem. Fragmented, inconsistent data hiding the real issue behind surface metrics. Manus's ability to automatically write and execute code unlocks these workflows. We use it to harmonize 3 messy CSVs automatically, run blind anomaly detection to find metric divergences, and surface a hidden quality crisis with a quantified stop ship memo showing full financial impact. So here you can see the 3 CSVs that we've given to Manus. First, we have our NPS feedback from the last 3 months, where you can see the verbatim feedback with many rows on this spreadsheet. Then we have our returns to the warehouse and the reasoning why there. Also with hundreds and hundreds of rows. And finally, we have our transactions for the last 3 months, where you can see our spreadsheet with nearly 10,000 rows. So I've told Manus that we need to build our weekly health check from these 3 messy sources. I've told it to standardize the category column in the transactions, and I've also told it to standardize the reason column in the returns warehouse. When it's done, it tells me what it's done, as well as the report highlights as well. I've then told it to act as a lead business analyst and perform a blind anomaly detection. I've said specifically what I'm looking for, such as structural deviations in performance over the last 30 days. I've said to scan for metric divergence, segment anomalies, and output its top 3 critical risk findings with root cause evidence for each. Manus goes through, uses its computer, and writes scripts for complex analysis. And when it's done, it's told me 3 critical risk findings. Here we can see a systemic return spike, a critical risk around the women's pants category, and our highest risk, which is the women's outerwear, where we have a return rate that has gone up to 42.16%, with NPS crashing negative 1,649%, making up nearly half of all orders returned. This is a pretty big deal, and Manus gives some strategic recommendations, including to halt all shipments pending a quality audit. I've then asked it to generate a quality assurance stop ship memo for the supply chain director, including quantifying the financial risk if we do nothing, and to provide the specific return reason data points that they need to fix in the manufacturing specs, as well as a chart showing the trend line for the women's outerwear return spike. When Manus is done with that analysis, it generates this internal memorandum, including an executive summary, the anomaly, the graphs that we specifically asked for, the financial risk quantification, and even root cause data showing that material quality issues are responsible for 78 returns, which are 90.7% of total returns. Here's the pattern. When your data is fragmented or messy, Manus can compress the entire investigative workflow into one conversation. Quality crises in operations data, churn signals across CRM systems, performance issues in logs. Whenever you're thinking, the answer is buried in here, but I need days to find it, that's your trigger. You can now go from messy CSVs to executive action without the forensics work.